support your remote team. So for a lot of us that have a brick and mortar office and we have staff that are showing up to work, can't really do that now. You know, they're encouraging us to have social distancing and really to encourage our staff to work from home to curb the spread of the virus. So we wanted to jump on and just do a quick half-hour special Appy hour to share some of the technologies that we use in our own firms. Both Liz and I are 100% remote teams. So we want to share some of the technology that we're using, some of the strategies to help you guys that maybe are not remote teams yet kind of transition to this immediately, to act quickly, because that's what you're going to need to do. So that's what this is all about. We're super excited to have you guys join us. Thank you for joining us today. And we also have some resources for you. So there's a lot of freebies out there right now where large corporate companies like Zoom and Google are offering free tools to to the public to help them combat this crisis that we're experiencing now. So Liz, do you have the PowerPoint up, or are we going to use mine?
I do not have it open, but I certainly can.
All right. I can do it too. I just got it open, so we'll go ahead and
fantastic.
And I'll go ahead and share. So,
as a result to the world losing their mind and everybody now being home, it's like, what do? We have to respond to it.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go through some steps that you can do to, some technologies that you can use, and also steps that you can take to create a virtual workplace for you and your team quickly and as painlessly, hopefully, as possible. So for those of you that haven't joined us, Liz and I started the Appy Hour. Gosh, it's almost 2 years now. Can you believe that, Liz? To help accounting professionals to really embrace cloud accounting technology, and we wanted to make it a really relaxed environment. So that's been our mission for the almost last 2 years. And so twice a month we bring you episodes that highlight different types of technologies that you can use in your firm to do your work. So all right, so let's jump in. Just a little bit about us. Liz, you want to take it away and explain who you are?
Sure. I'm Liz Scott, and I've got a practice in Oklahoma, and what we focus on is helping businesses with their QuickBooks needs. And that's everything from going in and analyzing their existing processes, and then evaluating how streamlining and adding apps could help them, to training, and then transitional bookkeeping as needed.
Awesome. And I do very, very much the same thing that you do, Liz. So I work with small businesses and accountants to help them streamline their processes using technology. So yeah, so that's what we're doing. But that's enough about us. I think this is a really important topic that we're covering today. So I really want to jump right in, right away and start talking about some measures that you guys can take to support your
staff,
to support clients. Your staff, right?
Yeah, because the biggest thing that people want to hear is they want to hear how are accountants going to continue to support their clients, and we absolutely can. So definitely.
So huge thank you to our Champagne sponsor for 2020, Right Networks. They are the leading cloud hosting provider for accounting professionals. We actually had them on our show on Tuesday, where they did a deep dive demonstration of Right Networks, and actually it was really timely. We were just talking about this before we jumped on, how timely that episode was in light of what's going on, because it does give a solution to our QuickBooks desktop users. So the firms that are still supporting desktop clients that need to have remote access, we'll be talking a little bit more about Right Networks in a few minutes. But a huge thank you to them for making the Appy Hour possible, so that Liz and I can continue to bring you guys content and resources to help you run your firms.
Absolutely.
All right. How did we end up with that?
The Beatles.
The Beatles, right.
Yep, here we go. So
we jumped way ahead. I'm not exactly sure how our drink recipe got way ahead of everything else, but I'm going to go ahead and switch to to the next slide. So this is our agenda for today. We're going to just jump right in and then we're going to raise a toast. You guys all got a preview of our drink. So awesome. All right. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So our topic today is COVID-19 response supporting a remote workforce. So Liz, what technologies do we need? Like if you're going to start working from home right away, like what do you need to get started to support your team? What do you got to go out and get?
You know, the big conversation is, you know, being able to make sure that you have good internet connection, right? So no matter how you're going to be supporting these clients, you know that you're going to have internet. So do you need to work with your solution provider to say, you've got currently home service, do you need to switch it over to business service? And if you're like myself, I work out of my home, and I called my local agency and I asked them about switching over to business services. And there was a couple of things that they kind of clued me in on. And they said, if there was a disaster, you would get first priority as to services. So reconnection and more streaming ability. And then the other thing that comes along with that is, of course, more dollars per month. But as far as speed, the speed is actually no different. So if you're going to look at the speed, you actually need to look at that on both plans. Doesn't matter if it's your home plan or if it's a business plan, you know, there's multiple options whenever you're looking at speed.
Right.
So if you're going to be doing something like streaming, like what our webinar, I think go back just one.
You want me to go back?
No, you're right. You're right.
Okay, I just figured you were diving into that, so I.
Sorry. Yep. No,
okay.
You're with me. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. So right here, you can see streaming depends on what it is that you're going to be needing to do. And so, if you need to be able to say bandwidth, how much bandwidth do you need in order to be able to support these services to your clients? Are you going to be doing a lot of video conferencing with them? Or your staff? So have you now needed to switch over to more daily meetings that are going to be virtual? You're going to need some bandwidth for that. Probably not a lot. I mean, you don't need high speed definition in order to be able to have a team meeting, right? It just needs to be able to be something that you're getting together and having a little powwow in the morning. You need to group up. What's the
definitely
team? Team meetings are now going to be virtual. We have those, and I recommend those for any virtual staff anyway. I think it's fun to create. My favorite team meetings are whenever we say, okay, let's have a game. So our team meetings are all about, we have a game that we throw out there. One of my favorite games is go find something weird in a client file and bring it back to us. So, those team meetings are all about structuring who has capacity. And then, this maybe it was on the other slide, Heather, I might have jumped between these two, but the hardwiring versus Wi-Fi connection, that's always a big conversation. And then, reviewing your cybersecurity policy. This is one of those things that you definitely need to talk about with your insurance policy. Do you have a requirement that says that you need to be hardwired? There are some policies that is the recommendation, is to be hardwired. If that's your case, you need to know that. If you're have remote staff, you need to make sure that you're telling them that is our policy. If you have staff, you also need to be making sure that you tell them our policy is that everybody in their work location, this is what we do. So, that means that they've got to have enough Ethernet connections.
They do. And I mean, security is so important. We're going to talk about, we've talked about that a little bit. Security is super important, especially in our industry where we're working with sensitive financial data. The other thing that I would say is that, with some of the plans, and we're going to be talking about video conferencing in just a moment, but some of the plans offer encrypted meetings. And I think that that's something that you really, there are free versions out there. We're going to tell you about all the free resources in a moment. But one of the things that you get with the paid versions of some of these conferencing softwares is that you get the encryption. And I think when you are doing screen shares with your clients, that's really important to make sure that you're protecting their sensitive info for sure.
And that
So,
VPN that's up there, that's another one too that you've got to think about.
yeah, definitely. And I just also want to mention that I stole this internet speed image about what bandwidth it takes for each of these technologies from NerdWallet. So this was a great article that I found on NerdWallet that kind of gave us some insight into this. So you can check that out. And I'm going to actually share that URL both on Facebook in the live, and then I'll also share it in the chat here. So I'll go ahead and share that out. All right, so let's talk about video conferencing, Liz. Video conferencing for you and I who are 100% remote teams, we're already using these technologies.
Mm-hmm.
What has happened in the last week is that a lot of these technology companies are offering free options and extended trials, and not extended trials for like 2 weeks, like extended trials for like 4 months. So I'm going to be sharing a URL to an article that actually lists 5 technologies or 5 companies that are offering this.
That's great.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And it looks like, Liz, we're having some issues with people logging in. Maybe we could go out on Facebook and let people know in our group that they can use their regular login to log into Appy Hour from our invitations to get in. And I'm also seeing that we have like 4 Ann Lees in here. So I think that maybe you had shared out one person's link to the webinar rather than a generic one.
Oh, well, that's
okay.
True.
Awesome. And people are joining live, so it's fantastic. All right, so Zoom is the one that we're on. So we're using Zoom for video conferencing, so you're getting a little taste of that. There is a free version, and the free version is actually pretty, it has a lot of features. You get up to 100 participants. So if you're having a staff meeting, up to 100 people can join the same meeting. There is a 40-minute time limit for the free version. So you would need to limit your meetings to 40 minutes or start a new meeting. It does have the ability to record locally. So if you have certain members that can't make the meeting and want to watch it later, you can do that. You can find out and sign up for Zoom at zoom.us and sign up for a free plan. I was actually using the free plan when I first started my firm for a little bit, and then I ended up upgrading because I wanted that encryption. So when I'm working with my clients and doing screen shares with their data, I didn't have any concern about whether or not somebody could see what I was doing. The other technology, 2 other technologies here that we're looking at is Cisco WebEx, which also has a free version. It allows a gigabyte of storage. It also allows up to 100 participants. There's no time limit on the WebEx. And then with the WebEx, they're actually offering 4 months free if you end up deciding to buy an annual plan. They're going to give you 4 months free, and that special is in response to the coronavirus outbreak. So you can check that out as well. And then finally, there's Google Hangouts. So if you're a Google user, like Liz and I both use G Suite, there's a free version of Google Hangouts, and you can have up to 150 participants. There's no time limit, unlimited number of meetings, local recording capabilities, and you get that 1 gigabit of storage via Google Drive, and sometimes more depending on what plan you have. And what Google is doing, according to that NerdWallet article, what Google is doing to support the outbreak for businesses is they're actually, if you're using Google Hangouts as just like a free version and you want to upgrade to the enterprise version, which has additional features and security, then you can do that. You can do that at no charge if you're a G Suite user or a G Suite for Education user. So, so that's really great. Kudos to Google for helping out and helping people, to really embrace this social distancing that we need to control the outbreak. Internal communication workspaces. I know, Liz, you and I both use Slack. Slack is also free. Up to 10, I think is 10,000, what is it, 10,000 gigabytes or something like that. I don't know. It's some...
I don't know, but whatever you go past that, it just starts dumping out your old stuff. So
right.
You just can't save everything, which it takes a long time to get there. Not that you can't get there, but it takes a long time.
It does. And, with Slack, You can create different channels
Mhm.
for your, you can create different channels for each of your clients, and then invite your team members in that are working on those particular clients into those channels, and you can collaborate together, which is really, really helpful. So Slack is free. There is a paid version. It really is free. I feel like it's free, like super free, if you're just collaborating with your internal team, right? If you wanted to expand it and start inviting clients and other users into your Slack workspace, you want to pay for that, because that gives you the ability to limit permissions in certain channels, and so your clients don't end up seeing each other. So you'd want to investigate that before you start inviting clients into your workspace. So it's really meant to just be an internal tool. The other thing is Microsoft Teams. If you're using Office 365 business plan, then you get Microsoft Teams probably included in your plan. So it is it's Slack-like. It's the same type of internal, internal communication platform. And the nice thing about Teams is it's integrated with all your other Microsoft products. So, you can upload documents, you can share things. It's pretty amazing.
And those people who are using Teams, they swear by it.
They
So
do.
you either use it or you don't.
Yep.
Kind of the way that the community works on Teams.
Yep, absolutely. We also have email, right? So we all have email. I think the challenge with email is we need to be secure. So if you are using email just for, correspondence back and forth with questions and things like that, that's fine. But we want to remember that if we're sending, documents back and forth, we need to be aware of the security of those documents. So if you're sending a tax return, it is tax season, to a colleague or something through email, you've got to make sure that you password protect that, or use secure file storage, which we're going to talk about next. Any other tips that you want to share with people as far as internal communications?
No, I mean, just that both things happen, internal and external conversations. And so making sure that you're tracking it somewhere,
Yeah.
and, getting out of these things, whatever you're doing, especially right now, whenever, and those people who, if you're already virtual, then you've already probably got some practices in place. If you're just now switching over from a brick and mortar to, okay, gosh, we have to go virtual, then this is a really good opportunity for you to stop and say, what are we going to do? And make this your opportunity to say, this is how we get things done around here. We do things in Slack. We do things in email. However it is.
Right.
We communicate this way with our staff. We communicate this way with our clients. We store those documents.
Yep. No, absolutely.
Consistent.
And so that's what we're actually going to talk. We're going to talk about Right Networks and hosting services for just a few minutes as well. If you're working with desktop clients that are using, QuickBooks Desktop, maybe your firm is using, desktop applications for your tax software. In a crunch like this, getting everything migrated to cloud applications probably isn't an option for you. So what you could do is you could sign up for Right Networks hosting and actually migrate your entire, all the apps that you're using onto Right Networks, and they'll help you get onboarded to that. They're also offering a 20% discount through the end of March. If you, and I think, what is that? Do you know what their code is? Can you grab our code, Liz? For that, because there's a special code that they gave us on Tuesday that can get you guys 20% off of your subscription for Right Networks.
Absolutely. I'll grab that.
You can also view our episode at the appyhour.com episodes if you want to learn more. They did do a demonstration of the great features and how you can actually bring your entire ecosystem, your desktop ecosystem, into the cloud and access things like, there's over 300 apps out there, right, Liz, that can be added to your Right Networks workspace.
Which is a ton. I mean, like, if you're in doubt, go check them out, because there's a ton out there.
Right. And you have access, so like the accountant firm has, you can add your clients in and then give your clients client level access to the files that you need. So you're actually in control of the data file, which is really important. And again, for details on Right Networks and how it can work for you and your firm, make sure you check out that full 1 hour Appy Hour episode where we highlight and we actually go through all the different features of Right Networks. I was actually just recording a podcast earlier this morning for CPA moms. And one of the things that we were talking about was that this coronavirus, as awful as it is and how it's been so disruptive, could actually be a silver lining for some firms that are maybe a little bit behind on adopting this type of technology in their firm. It could be the little push they need to implement some of these tools in their firm now. And I feel like that could really be, a benefit to kind of help them get through this, right?
I agree with you. This is now a chance to say it's time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So as we mentioned, there's over 300 apps. You can see a lot of our favorite apps listed here that can be added to your Right Networks workspace. So we've got, B2B Gateway, QVinci, Smart Vault. Liz showed us a demo of how she can access her Smart Vault right from the Right Networks environment. So there's really, you don't feel like you're on a remote server. You feel like you're working on your own machine. It's that fast. It's that good. And it's that seamless.
Looks like Windows. It really does. So those people who are Windows users, it looks exactly the same. Those people who are Mac users, you don't have to work in a parallel environment. You can, they worked it out so that way it feels and looks just like you're working on your Mac, but you're using the Right Networks environment. And so you can use the Windows version of QuickBooks, which I know that's always a big thing for Mac users, is they always feel like, man, I have to use the Mac version. Well, if you're using the Right Networks solution, then you can actually use the Windows version on a Mac. So that's kind of a nice feature without a parallel.
Yeah. Yep. No, I totally hear you. So, it's fantastic. And it's a good time to explore all of these options. Let's talk a little bit about secure file storage, Liz.
I love these mapped drives. So I'm a big fan of both Smart Vault and ShareFile, and that, and I switch back and forth between what I use it for. So for probably the last 2 years, I've used both for different things. So I have a lot of experience with both of those. And then also Box is a big player. So we use Box for various different things. And Google Drive, we all get some space in Google Drive for free. So I think these are all viable options to all of us. These are all things that the majority of us have experience with. No matter what it is that we're doing, the conversation here is whenever you're talking to your staff, the whole idea, I thought I had my laptop right near me, but I don't. The whole idea is whenever you're training your staff, you tell them their computer, if it's ever stolen, you don't want any documents on that PC. So the idea is if the computer is stolen, so what?
Right.
There's no client files that are actually stored on that PC, so you're not at risk. Because if for some reason your documents were stolen, then you have to notify everybody on your client list that there was a breach. And if you're doing something to secure all those files and your clients, then you've covered your bases. So what you do is you have these mapped drives, and all of these documents, when you're opening them, they're living in the hosted environment. So you're working them in them, and then you save them, and they're saved into your hosted environment. So they're never, ever, ever landing on your actual hard drive.
Right.
That's the best practice there.
And, and what's nice, you're right. All of the documents are stored securely there, and you have the ability that if a laptop is stolen, with the new Windows, like if you're using Windows anyway, you have the ability to do like a kill switch, right? To basically make that inoperable. So if you have those permissions set up. So
perfect.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. And also just, Liz, you use Smart Vault, and I was actually looking at Smart Vault yesterday because I was looking for an e-signature product for my firm that would allow me to send those documents securely, get them signed. And one of the things that I was finding, and I'm looking for any feedback from any of our accountants that are on this call today. One of the things that wasn't working for me is that with some of these services, after the contract or the form or whatever is signed, they actually send you an unsecured PDF copy of the signed document, and that doesn't work for a tax document or anything that has sensitive information in it. So I know with Smart Vault, they have that built in. Share Files, what I use, they also have a version with right signature that allows that whole process to be encrypted and secure. So I think that's really important as well, especially if you're doing compliance work and dealing with client sensitive data, that you're able to get those documents signed timely and easily by your clients, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So, and there's a lot out there. The other thing I learned as I was researching all of this is that the IRS will only acknowledge knowledge-based encryption for when your clients sign tax forms. So if you're using Adobe PDF with Adobe Acrobat DC, there's actually the Adobe sign built into it. Guess what? It is not knowledge-based encryption. The IRS would say, nope, sorry, that is not actually signed. That's not a signed 8879. So yeah, so all right. Yeah, so I think that's another thing that we actually didn't add to these slides, but that e-signature is also a kind of must-have tool for accountants, right? We have to have the ability to have our clients sign tax forms and other documents for us so that we can, stay on track. And Mike just joined us. Hey, Mike, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us in Zoom today. So other things that we're going to need, in addition to the technologies that we just talked about, and I love this, Liz, you kind of came up with this list, and I couldn't agree more, is a good place to work at home, right? So if you have kids like I do and Liz does, it's important for us to, to make sure that we have that quiet spot where we can actually focus on our work and make it work for everybody. So.
Well, the whole thing is now we're going to have a shared home that's going to be also our shared workspace, which, those of us that have already adopted this idea, this is kind of like second nature to us. But whenever I first started working at home, it was kind of like, okay, when my office door is closed, that means I'm in either a meeting that I need my full brain to focus, or that means I'm on a call that I need it to not have a bunch of kids running through. So, there's just some home office rules that if mom's office door is closed, that means, not now. And then, what I first did in the very, very beginning is I put a note, like I really did. I'd take my copy paper, I put a note on my door that said, come back later. And then you kind of like get into those routines, and my door's always open except for just those few rare times, and my kids have known that now. So we adopt really, really well. We take lunch together during the summer times. We've adopted to it now that my kids are home for spring break, this extended spring break that they've been given by the school system. We're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to be taking lunches together. Whenever we were talking about whose turn is it for the internet, all of those kinds of things. So a good place to work at home.
Yeah, you got to have a good place to work at home. You need to document your processes, right? So here we're talking about document storage, but workflow apps are great at documenting your processes. So apps like Arrow Workflow,
yes.
Carbon, Jetpack Workflow, all of those are great options for documenting processes and also documenting the workflow and where people need to go, especially if you're having a disruptive change like this, where it used to be that you'd walk down the hall to a file and grab it and bring it back to your desk. Now, where do you go? Like, what apps do you use? And I know Michael McClellan just mentioned Liscio as an option, which actually has features like that as well. But there's also Client Hub. right? Client Hub is a great app. We had them on the Appy Hour about a year and a half ago. And that's a great app too, that allows you to collaborate with your clients and helps you to make that transition from desktop to cloud, because it's got links to all of the different applications that you're using. So that would be a good one to mention as well. And then I would just say a great network of professionals and friends. We're going through a tough time. People are going to need help. We're a community. And so if you know a practitioner that is struggling, you know, and you have extra bandwidth, reach out to them, offer up that help to them.
Well,
I've already seen some of that happening in my own community, where I'm hearing about different practitioners that are in trouble, right? They've got tax returns they've got to get out. They're having issues, and I'm seeing my peers step in and really help out and you know, keep them on track, which is fantastic.
even this conversation right here, it's like those people who have been doing this virtual thing for a while, and they're seeing their accounting buds who haven't been, you know, show them how, show them. I mean, I still have clients who, whenever they come on board, I ask for some of their passwords from their prior accountants, and it's literally, you know, a scanned piece of paper of a handwritten note from a spiral notebook. I mean,
Yeah.
if you've got those buds that are spiral notebook and pen and paper, help them out, get them transitioned over, because I don't think that this is going to last long, but it is hitting us really hard right now.
Right. And right smack dab in the middle of tax season.
Yeah. It's bizarre. I don't think that we know how to react to it, other than to be able to say, this is the new thing that's happening right now. So we have to adapt and
let's work together.
Yep.
Let's work together.
Yep.
You need help, ask for help. If you can help, offer it.
Why not?
That's what I would love for everybody to do. I mean, Liz and I are taking time out of our day to try and do what we can, but let's do a ripple effect. Let's help each other, and I think that's how we're going to get through this better than trying to do it all alone.
I agree. And those documented processes for staff members, where that's really important. If you're just switching over to a virtual world, the thing that I have found is that why that's so critical with a virtual staff is that you don't have that constant tether of a brick and mortar firm. And so where you would normally have somebody who stands up and then walks over to another office and says, here's my question, now you don't have that. And so as accountants, we are kind of quiet people, self-reliant people. And so what you have is somebody who maybe not going to ask that question. And so you need to make sure that you have those staff meetings via Zoom, via whatever it is that you're saying, ask me those questions, ask me those questions, ask me those questions. So make sure that you are saying to your staff, I get it that you no longer have the ability to walk down the hallway to me. Here's our documented place for all these, you know, here's how we do things. But then whenever you run into a question, come and ask us right away.
And Slack and Microsoft Teams, totally worth their weight in gold in this situation, because if your staff is trying to learn something new, having a lifeline through something like Slack, a communication app, is just going to be crucial. A quick way, and what's really nice about Slack is it's texting, right? Or it's not texting, but it's typing. So I can be working on something or on a conversation, and a staff member can ask me a question and I can get back to them quickly, or I can at least point them in the right direction. So I really, you know, if you haven't looked at that, you know, definitely do that. We have our coolest thing for today is these free resources that we found. We're going to be posting these on Appy Hour as soon as we can. So on our website, the appyhour.com, we're going to have a page for this particular episode. You'll be able to find the ADP coronavirus. They had an awesome webinar at 11 o'clock today that was talking about protecting your employees. And I actually have an ebook that it's 13 pages, I think, Liz, that basically walk you through what are your responsibilities as an employer to your employees to make sure that they are safe and that they have what they need, during this crisis.
Do you want me to share my page, my screen real quick? So
that would be fantastic. Do you want to show them that?
Yeah, and then can you queue up the magazine? And I'll share these other two resources so that they can see see what we've
Fantastic.
got coming. And then, okay, so coronavirus protecting your employees. So what ADP put together is they said, as an employer, what are your responsibilities? And so this is a resource that you can go through. And there is a webinar that's going on right now. And I think that there's going to be a repeat of that. I think
Yeah.
they said they had a record number of 14,000
Right.
people show up for this. So obviously there's a lot of concern about as an employee and as an employer, what are our responsibilities? So this resource goes through what are your responsibilities? What do you need to do? What if your employees get sick? How do you respond? What's some flexible work options? How do you address it? So here's a handout that you're going to be able to have. And then Right Networks also, they reached out and they said they've got a handout about getting into the cloud. So what, why, and how of the cloud. So some technologies that you need in order to be able to launch. And so they've got how to set it up, how to get your hardware, your data, your workstation. So that workstation that we were talking about, like how are you going to jump onto the internet, apps to use. So these are two resources that we have. And then Heather, do you have the resources? Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing.
So let me, I'm going to share that out. So that this article, and let me just make sure I'm going to the right one. This article that I found, I just shared the link. The link is actually shared both in Facebook and it's shared in our Zoom meeting.
Okay.
This is an article that I found that is talking about the free resources for small businesses during the crisis. And it has links to where you could actually sign up for them. And it also highlights some of the offers that are being made available. So pretty amazing. So Microsoft is making the extended premium trial available for 6 months. So if you're not using Office 365 and you're not using, Microsoft Teams, this is a great opportunity for you to try the software for 6 months. Other things that I've seen is if you pay up front, they're giving you like 4 months free, which is really great. So definitely check this out. I think this is a really fantastic option. For sure. So I'm going to kind of go ahead and go through the rest of these. I got my deck a little bit funky here, but we also, Liz has, she's creating an email template to let her clients know what her firm's plan is for the coronavirus and how people will be working and what might be different. And she's going to share her email template with you guys as soon as it's done. And so we'll put that up on the website as well.
Just to let them know that, hey, our firm is actually virtual, and so we can handle the workload. We're not going anywhere. Our team knows what to do virtually. And so just to let our clients know that from an accounting perspective, they're covered. They're fine.
They're covered. Yeah, we've got it under control. We're aware. We're watching, I guess it's expected to be announced over the next day or so that we're expecting the IRS is going to extend the filing deadline for business returns. So letting your clients know that you're on top of that and you're going to keep them, informed of what's happening is really important as well. So thank you for that, Liz. I look forward to seeing that for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, so I had actually messed up our deck because we put this together so quick to help you guys, but we wanted to raise a toast to you, to our amazing community. We don't have a sponsor we have Right Networks, which is our champagne sponsor. We don't have an episode sponsor for this. This is our gift to you guys, and we want to thank you guys. So here's to you. We are going to conquer this. We're going to take that hammer and we're going to beat the heck out of this coronavirus, and we're going to come out better and stronger. And we're going to help each other. So super thankful for all of you guys. Well, and our drink for today is orange juice. So we got to keep that immunity up. We've got to make sure that we're taking our vitamins and getting lots of vitamin C. So
I don't know if you know, but I hate orange juice, Heather.
You hate orange juice? Do you like grapefruit juice?
No, I don't like juice. But look what I have.
Oh, you got the emergency. Yeah.
I buy this in the boxes.
I know. Well, when we went to London last year, I remember you had a ton of it.
So that's my orange juice, plus I have oranges. So I do actually like both.
I'm not a big juice drinker either. But it seemed appropriate for this episode.
100%.
It
But
just seemed like it was
my
appropriate.
orange juice version is emergency.
I totally am right there with you. Emergency's good stuff too.
I agree.
All right, so everybody, thank you for joining us for this impromptu episode of Appy Hour. I hope that we were able to bring you some ideas and some resources that are going to help you through this. We're here for you. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Make sure you lend a hand and ask for help. I hope that right. Bring you some ideas. And you can watch all of our episodes. As I mentioned, the Right Networks episode is up right now. You have access to all of our episodes on our website and via YouTube. So as you're working from home and you guys have some time, you can put up one of our episodes while you're doing your tax returns and finishing up your year ends. And then don't forget, we're our sponsor today, but also visit our sponsor's website. Visit our bar book to get the drink recipes and learn more about all the amazing apps that have been on Appy Hour over the almost 2 years that we've been doing the show. There's some great technologies. Without those technologies, Liz and I wouldn't be able to have remote virtual firms. So thank you to all the vendors and the developers and the brilliant minds that are creating these amazing technologies that allow us to do this. So yeah. All right, and we'll see you guys on March 24th. We're going to be talking about importing Clover daily sales summaries into QuickBooks Online with Commerce Sync. So we'd love to see you for that. We also have a lot of really great upcoming episodes. ADP, we have a special Appy Hour exclusive announcement we're going to make, which you guys do not want to miss. It's very, very, very cool on April 28th. We're going to be talking about the future of artificial intelligence in the accounting industry with Todd Robinson from Vic AI on March 12th. And then we're going to have not our own, but our friend, Matthew Fulton on May 26th with ADP, and he's going to do a deep dive of Accountant Connect. And then on June 9th, we're going to do a special panel discussion with our friends at Practice Ignition. So we've got a lot of really great episodes coming up. We hope to see you there. And huge thank you to Right Networks for being our champagne level sponsor. And thank you to all of you again for joining us today. Stay well. And let us know if you need anything. Come over to the Appy Hour Lounge. We're all here to help each other.
Fantastic. I agree. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay virtual.
Right. Yes. Stay home. All right, everybody. We're going to sign off for now. Thank you so much.
Bye, all.
Bye, Liz.